Okay, moving right along, we have our second senior lecturer from SOC. Okay, Dr. Damith is sitting right there. Okay, his interests lie in software engineering, and in particular, he aims to motivate others to create great software. Software that users will fall in love with. Okay, Dr. Damith has written several books related to software engineering and is engaged in developing software for the use of educators and students. Okay, so presenting on the topic, creating software that users love, Dr. Damith. Thank you.
Right. We all hate using lousy software, don't we? Now the thing is, what we should really hate is the people who created those software. And that's you guys. Not right now, but one day you will go on to create software that other people will use. And when that happens, you want those people not just to tolerate your software, but to like it as well, and if possible, fall in love with it. We want fanboys for our software, don't we? Now, how do we make that happen? Before love comes understanding. So we have to understand our users well enough so that we can create something that is actually helpful to them, but that's not enough either. We have to go the extra mile and delight them so that they fall in love with the software. So we start with understanding. How do we even understand thousands, potentially thousands of users that you might be targeting? You start with one. You have to understand at least one of those guys, a real person with a real name and a face. And this is easier to do if that is you yourself. So that is why some of the most loved software today were created initially for the creators themselves, because they could understand what they wanted. So that's how the understanding happens. But in this case, you have to keep separate your developer mindset from how the user thinks. As a developer, you might want open source, but you have to keep in mind users might not care, right? And moving on to helping, now that you have understood the user, you have to figure out an aspect of the user's life that you can improve with your software solution. Once you have figured that out, you go and create it. But now, how do you make sure that this software that you plan to create actually will eventually help the user? You should be able to visualize the usage of the software from the very beginning. And how do you do that? One easy way to do that is to create the user guide, not as a list of features, but explaining how the user will use this software to do something. Right? To give you an analogy, imagine you want to find out more information about a person you have never met, for whatever reason. Would you look at a list of details about this person, a photograph, or a video clip? Ideally, all three. Now, for a software, a user guide created in the way I described just now, how it is being used, actually has elements of all these three. So for the software, this is all three. And that is why it helps you to visualize how the software will be used by people to achieve something. Moving on to delighting, the extra mile. Imagine there's a bill paying machine where you have to go through these steps to pay a bill. Well, all right. And now imagine there is another machine from a different company that lets you just stick the bill into the slot without having to do anything. And it still works. So now this is something you can fall in love with. Previous one was okay, useful, but this is great. So there's a big difference here. On the other hand, this, you've seen this, you can't fall in love with this. Why can't the software simply ignore the spaces? It's not difficult to do. For a human, typing 16 digits without a mistake, that's difficult to do. So this you won't fall in love. Here's another example. Sometimes you just want to buy a burger. You don't want to be forced to specify every ingredient of the burger. For a software, configure discoverability is good, but you should have default behavior, and that behavior should be reasonable. The current time is not a reasonable default for the deadline. The deadline is not just now, right now, right? So it has to be reasonable as well. Likewise, there are so many different things we have to look at, we can improve to make our software delightful and something users can fall in love with. But the most important thing I want to tell you, the thing I want to ignite in your minds, is the passion to do that. Not just to create software that simply comply with specifications, but something that users can fall in love with. Because when we create software, we have a unique opportunity to make the user's life a little bit happier, or we can stink it up. I hope you make the right choice. Thank you very much.